Oh, hello there. My name is Ezra and welcome back to another Ezra review. And on today's review, I want to talk about the first two Deadpool movies, which is obviously leading up to Deadpool and Wolverine. I already bought my ticket for July 24th, which is next Wednesday, because this movie releasing 2 days earlier in my country, so I should be able to watch this movie on Wednesday and then maybe give my own non-spoiler review, on Wednesday night, maybe. So we have to wait and see about that. If there is no scheduling conflict, then I should be good, watching the movie on Wednesday. But yeah, for this video, I want to talk about the first two Deadpool movies. Because here's the thing. I don't really know that much about Deadpool character, to be honest, until I saw the first Deadpool movies, and I didn't even know Ryan Reynolds back in the day. He was a pretty famous person, but it's like, yeah, Deadpool is like the first time I ever saw Ryan Reynolds, even though I watched Green Lantern, which like this movie really makes fun of Green Lantern in a way, but yeah, I didn't really know that, oh, Green Lantern was played by Ryan Reynolds, like that didn't come across my mind because the movie wasn't that good, but for Deadpool, it's a different scenario entirely, because I was attracted to, I guess, like Deadpool character, like Deadpool movies, because of the poster. Because I thought the poster was like, oh, it's kind of funny. So and people are kind of like talking about it, So I thought I asked my parents that, hey, can we watch this movie? Even though this movie was rated R, and my parents was like, yeah, let's just go watch the movie. Why not? So we did watch it on obviously on 2016. I don't exactly know if we watched it on the day it came out. Maybe a week later, but we did watch the movie, and honestly, man, I wasn't expecting that this movie to be that good, because the first movie is directed by Tim Miller and written by Reed Reese and Paul Wernick, and obviously star Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool. Even though this is not the first time Ryan Reynolds playing Deadpool, the first time he plays the character was actually from X-Men Origin Wolverine, where he does star alongside Hugh Jackman, So Deadpool and Wolverine is not the first time where Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman playing Deadpool and Wolverine. It's actually from X-Men Origin Wolverine, which is not that good, to be honest. I think that movie it does, I don't know, it tried to do so much, but also so little at the same time, and it's just like not interesting in terms of the plot and the character. And Deadpool was pretty much silent throughout that entire movie, especially the third act, and Ryan Reynolds only appear in the beginning of the movie, and then that's it. He just disappear throughout the rest of the movie, But so I'm really glad that he got a second chance to play the character properly this time around, because he's breaking the fourth wall, which is what Deadpool character was even on the comic, So that's what makes Deadpool character so much fun, and I think Ryan Reynolds is the perfect casting for Deadpool. He is Deadpool. He's playing himself, but it's like, yeah, it's Deadpool, man. Like, it's just so good, man. And I would say this, even though Deadpool is a really funny movie, it still has a heart, because the movie itself, like I said before, does break the fourth wall a couple of times, but it does tell a story for a man named Wade Wilson, which is like a vigilante assassin in a way that basically obviously kill people for for money in a way, and his life are basically threatened because he has a cancer, and obviously we all know cancer is a bitch, like cancer sucks, because it does took my aunt, and I feel like I know that feeling when you have cancer, you feel so hopeless, and I feel like this movie really nailed that feeling, it really hits hard, I feel like, so for so many people out there, and that's why I think Wade Wilson's character are really interesting, because like obviously when you are thinking about like an assassin, then there is a chance where he's not exactly super relatable, or like you can't exactly sympathize with the man. But I feel like the way Ryan Reynolds play Wade Wilson or Deadpool here are obviously, again, I would say comic accurate in a way, but also it's he's a man that you could sympathize with, like he's not exactly like a cold killer in a way, because there is so much people that are way worse than Wade Wilson, because he doesn't kill women and children, I guess, and obviously when he took a job, that there has to be a good reason why he needs to take the job, and one day he make this one woman named Vanessa, played by Morena Baccarin, and then obviously Wade and Vanessa are becoming a couple, they become like fiance in a way. And when Wade decided to basically live his, like he wants to live the rest of his life with Vanessa, that's where the cancer hit, that's where he passed out. And this is where Wade met Ajax, or I guess Francis, where played by Ed Screen. Ed Screen, I think I hope I pronounced that correctly, But yeah, this is where he basically gained his power. He becomes a mutant because they injected like a mutant cell into Wade Wilson's body, and they have to torture him a couple of times. But after some time, the serum doesn't necessarily work, until Deadpool insult Ajax, that, hey, your name is not Ajax, it's actually Francis, and he keeps calling him Francis throughout the entire movie, until eventually Francis was like, okay, well, this guy is annoying. You won't shut up. So I'm just gonna put you in this one machine where they lower like the oxygen on the like the place, I guess the tank in a way, and this basically resulting to Wade Wilson scarring, like a severe scarring over his body and face, and to the point that I think like his entire body is just like rotting in a way, and it's just like it's super scary. When I watched this on theater, like I remember Deadpool are breaking the fourth wall. They're saying, "Oh, if did I say this is like a romance movie? No, it's a horror movie." And I was like, yeah." I was actually quite terrified with his face. When he once he first transformed into that disfigure face. Kind of like Freddy Krueger in a way, right? I'm just like, damn. Okay, this movie does. The movie got really dark really fast. And after that we get to see some cool fight scene between Deadpool and Francis. Francis won, but Deadpool survived because obviously now he activate that mutant power. So he's able to regenerate at the fast rate. Just like Wolverine does. And yeah, that's where he becomes Deadpool. And he tries to reach out to Vanessa again, but he is afraid because his face are disfigured. So he decided to visit his best friend Weasel, played by T.J. Miller, which I think he does a great job being like the secondary like comedy for the movie itself. Where they basically come up with the idea that, oh, like we should wear a mask, like you should wear a mask, because obviously Francis think that you're dead, so you can like search the basically the crew member and try to find out where Francis actually is, so he can actually fix this Deadpool's face. And that's where he came up with the idea of Deadpool, because there is in the bar there is a bet called Deadpool, right, where somebody bet like, oh, maybe $100 if this person die, and then Weasel bet Deadpool. And it's just like, okay, that's where Wade got the idea, oh, I'm gonna name myself Deadpool, Captain Deadpool. No, 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 just Deadpool. Yeah, I think throughout this entire montage, I absolutely love it because we get to see so many cool fight scenes, where Deadpool trying to find out where Francis was. We get to see some, progress for his costume until eventually reaching the official costume that we seen in the movie, and eventually leading up to the highway chases. And the movie actually opened up with the highway chases. But I decided to tell the story chronologically because I think it's just way better for me. But then we does tell like two timelines again, where in the beginning you are following Wade as he hunt down Francis, because he found Francis in the highway, which I think is a really, really cool fight scene. We get to see a couple of car flip, and obviously there is some CGI involved, but I feel like it's okay, it's fine, for the movie. We also met some new character named I think Dopinder, right, played by Karan Soni, which I think is also a nice addition to the movie. And I didn't really realize that Karan Soni doesn't necessarily have that much screen time in the first Deadpool movie, but man, he does leave an impression. So I think that's how you know that it's a funny character that actually stays with you, even though he doesn't appear that much in the movie. But yeah, he met Dopinder and then he met Francis, on the highway finally. But before he can interrogate, like basically torturing Francis and then asking him to restore his face, Colossus show up, which is one of the X-Men members. So Colossus and Negasonic team is Warhead, I think, which is the longest name ever, right? But yeah, even Deadpool kind of like making fun of that name, but they basically stop Deadpool from killing Francis, because Hero doesn't kill anyone, we bring them to justice, right? But throughout the commotion, Francis managed to get away. Deadpool basically got super pissed with Colossus, like, oh my god, like, I can't believe you did that, and then tried to punch Colossus a couple of times, which obviously doesn't work because Colossus is metal, right? And then yeah, they basically try to take Deadpool to the Charles Xavier school, the X-Men school essentially, and that's where Deadpool cut his arm and then escaped through using a a dump truck, I guess. Somehow got that timing perfectly. But you know what? Whatever. Who cares? And this is where I like the Deadpool movie, because the character are breaking the fourth wall multiple times, but also there is a speed button in a sense that like Deadpool was like, okay, when once because I said before the movie tell the story from two timeline. Once the first like once like the old timeline, reaching up to the future timeline, the past timeline reaching out to the future timeline, Deadpool was like, okay, we know how this is going to go, right? And then like the movie just fast forward, a couple of times, and I like that idea. I think it's a really, 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 really fun idea. And eventually the movie basically this time where I was like, okay, because throughout the first half of the movie we are following two timelines, the future one and the past one, and it was exciting for me. But I was like, okay, now we are reaching to the conclusion of this entire two timeline. I was like, okay, where the movie is going to go from now, and I was super excited for that. Because like, yeah, because you don't know where it's gonna go. At least for me, it's just like super exciting for me. But Deadpool was basically living together with this blind woman called Blind Al, I think. And yeah, he's also a really really funny character, So that's it's a really nice addition to the Deadpool's characters in a way, But eventually, they Deadpool and Weasel decide to go find Vanessa, because Francis and Angel, I think Angel Dust, which is played by Gina Carano, they were able to deduce that, oh, like they recognize Vanessa from a photo, because they visit Weasel to the bar and eventually found that photo, and eventually they realize that, oh, Vanessa is Wade Wilson's girlfriend. So both Deadpool and Weasel are trying to find Vanessa, and then once they reach the club, we get to see a nice Stanley cameo, which I did not expect, like he's a DJ there, which is funny, but Deadpool doesn't necessarily have a courage to talk to Vanessa, because again, his face is disfigured. But that leads to Francis finding Vanessa and kidnap her, and then obviously Deadpool got really, really angry. He's like punching mannequins and stuff like that. And eventually Francis said, hey, like, come and meet me on this location, we talk things out, and eventually Deadpool was like, I need all the guns right now, on this house, and then they go to the location. We get to see the Pinder again for the second time. The Pinder kidnaps Bandu, I think, which is like his romantic rival, which is also really, really funny, I love that a lot because Bandu basically got killed because he got crashed. He got hit by a car, But yeah, for the third act of the movie, it's just a really, really fun action sequence, We got Deadpool, Colossus, and Negasonic Teenage Warhead teaming up, And we get to see another cool fight scene between Deadpool and Francis, which I think is pretty brutal. Francis is kind of winning for the most part, but Deadpool eventually win the battle, obviously, in the end, and manage to rescue Vanessa, We also got to see the fight scene between Colossus and Angel, which I think is really cool that Colossus has a fight scene, that's really, really cool in my opinion, But yeah, after that, this is where Deadpool find out that, oh, Francis are just lying the entire time because there is no way to cure that face, like it's just permanent this entire time. So obviously Deadpool kill Francis, even though Colossus tried to say that, hey, 4 or 5 moments, 4 or 5 moments, that's all it takes to be a hero, But Deadpool just doesn't listen and just say, I'm gonna shoot him, like screw him, And Deadpool and Vanessa reconcile, and there is this one funny moment where Vanessa pulled the mask, and then Deadpool or Wade are using Hugh Jackman face, as his, just a secondary mask, just in case the first one fall off. I got this pretty face, and that's really interesting, because the first two Deadpool movie make fun of Wolverine and Hugh Jackman himself, So I think it's just really, really fun that now we get to see the two of them actually teaming up in the next movie, because it's being like, it wasn't a tease, but it's just like, it's a fun scene, and it's just like so, it's just so great, to see that finally come to full circle, especially in Deadpool 2 later on. But yeah, for the Deadpool 1, I would say this is a classic movie. I absolutely love it, I think it's better than the second one, but at the same time, I love all the Deadpool movies. I guess I love the two Deadpool movies, and the first one I feel like is way more, I guess, special in terms of the story and the characters, Like I said, it's not just like a funny character that breaking the fourth wall, but also there is some heart to the story, especially about Wade Wilson and Vanessa, so like they are the heart of the story. So I absolutely love that, It's story about a man that basically have to accept who he is right now, and I just think it's beautiful that Vanessa just respect, that what Wade Wilson looked like right now. She doesn't complain about that, like she's gonna get used to it. So it's like, oh, that's really nice, a nice way to end the movie. So yeah, let's get to Deadpool 2 this time. For Deadpool 2, I would say it's not as good it's not as good as the first one, but I still think it's still a good movie. I still have fun time watching it, because Deadpool 2, this time around is directed by David Leitch, which I think is a much better director, because David Leitch is a stuntman before, and then he directed the first John Wick movie alongside Chad Stahelski. He directed several action movies like Atomic Blonde, Bullet Train, obviously Deadpool 2, and Fast and Furious Hobbs and Shaw. So he's a good director, a good action director. So I think the action on Deadpool 2 is actually much better, in my opinion, much better than the first movie. So the movie starts with with Wilson just like going around the country, or like going around different countries essentially, but doing some assassin work, basically finding crimes, right? And yeah, this is where the David Leitch directing really shines. Every single time there is an action, it was super fun to watch, And granted, the beginning of the movie tries to be funny by breaking the four walls several times, and it doesn't always land, it doesn't always work, I feel like, okay, you're trying way too hard sometimes, but the action is really fun, And there's even one cool action, where Deadpool fighting a bunch of Yakuza, right? And then there is this one cool long shot, which I don't think it was on the theatrical release, because I think the scene was like shortened in the theatrical release, but on the extended cut, there's this one long fight scene with one long take, where Deadpool just fighting a bunch of Yakuza, which I think that's a really cool fight scene, But eventually the movie returned to his hometown, and eventually we get to see Dopinder again, helping Deadpool doing some assassin work, He first to defeat the final assassins, you could say that, on his hometown, and then eventually, well, he got away because there's a bunch of men after after Deadpool, and after that, Deadpool decided to again celebrate his anniversary with his girlfriend Vanessa, that night. However, because Deadpool failed to kill this one, the bad guys managed to find Deadpool's house and then kills Vanessa. And this is where the movie got really surprising for me, because I know that I was expecting Deadpool to be like, okay, like the first movie has a heart, but I don't think it's really that dark, It was like okay, which is fine. But on the second one, I feel this is where the movie gets really dark, especially with Vanessa's death. I was like, I did not see that coming, and that really surprised me when I saw that on theaters. I was like, damn, the movie just got dark immediately. The tone just gets a lot more serious immediately, because after that, because in the beginning of the movie, it's a classic Deadpool movie that you are expecting, and then once Vanessa died, the music and the directing suddenly changed, where it becomes much more darker and much more dramatic, where Wade Wilson are chasing down this one man that killed his girlfriend because he got so angry about him. And I was super tense, when I first saw this on theaters. I was like, damn, the movie got really serious, and I absolutely loved that, And Deadpool managed to kill the guy that kills Vanessa, but it was pointless, because Vanessa is still dead, obviously. After that, we get to see like a cool James Bond opening, I guess. I forgot to mention the opening for the first Deadpool movie either, which I think also a really fun opening sequence, but I feel like in the second movie, they are really hammering down the James Bond opening, which I really love, And they even acknowledged that, oh, we just killed Vanessa. Like, what the fuck? Like I guess it's kind of funny, but I feel like it's just, again, it's another unexpected moment for Deadpool 2 for me. I was like, damn, I didn't expect Vanessa to just die like that, And this movie pretty much focusing on Wade Wilson being depressed, because obviously the first movie is about him reuniting with Vanessa. And on the second movie, he lost Vanessa just like that, like a snap of a finger, And it was when they decided to have a dog, like a kid together, And it's just like, damn, man, it really hits hard, But yeah, pretty much this entire movie is where Wade are trying to kill himself, because Blind Al said that, but we can never live until we die a little, right? And then that's where Wade decided to come up with an idea that I'm gonna kill myself several times, because like there's no point for living anymore, And then one moment he tries to blow up the entire house, and I guess that's that kind of works, because his spirit basically leave his body, and then they enter this afterlife or something like that, And then Wade saw Vanessa, but Vanessa said that your heart is not in the right place, like what was that mean, and then after that, Colossus find Deadpool and piece together the body parts, and then that's where Deadpool heals again, and this is where Deadpool are joining the X-Men, because like he realized that, oh, like your heart is not in the right place, because Vanessa said that to him, and he thinks that maybe this is where I need to be, with the X-Men, and there's even a cameo for a lot of the other X-Men, but it was from the prequel X-Men, which is okay, that's interesting, I guess. But yeah, basically Colossus and Negasonic Teenage Warhead, they decide to team up, to stop this one mutant named Russell or Fire Fist, right? And this is where the pretty much the heart of the story goes, start from this moment right here, because like Wade are obviously a newbie to an X-Men, like trainee, right? And then Wade managed to stop Russell, using his sword, which is like super lucky he didn't like stab the kid, but it's like, okay, I guess he's just as professional, you could say that, but Deadpool realized that, oh, Russell has been tortured by the headmaster in this school, and eventually he kills one of the guard, and then eventually Colossus take him down, and he was taken to the Ice Cube, which is basically a prison for mutants. And then they use this color to basically suppress the mutant's ability. And even Wade was like, man, I should just use that for the first act, so I can like complete my plan immediately. But so in the prisons, Deadpool and Russell has some conversations. Russell wants to become a superhero, but no one really believed in him, and then Deadpool eventually said to Russell that, hey, like you make sure you need to be friends with the biggest guy in the prison, stop fighting the big guys, but just be friends with them, and then there is a foreshadowing who is that big guy in the prisons, which, the prison was actually broken to by Cable, which is a soldier from the future played by Josh Brolin, which I think it's just, wow, it's just insane that on 2018 Josh Brolin plays Thanos, and then now he plays Cable on Deadpool 2, which I think just really, really cool in my opinion. Like he plays like the like two different characters but on the same Marvel universe in a way, right? But I guess this is like the Fox universe, but still, but yeah, Josh Brolin is cool as Cable, because I think he's quite intimidating, and this is where we get to see another great action sequence, between Deadpool and Cable, because every single time I rewatch Deadpool 2, I always looking forward to see Deadpool and Cable fight, because to me that's like the best action sequence in the movie, especially on the prison scenes, we get to see a lot of cool action sequence, and eventually Deadpool managed to get the collar off his neck, and then he fought Cable again, saving Russell in the process, using the gun to basically defeat Cable, and then yeah, but unfortunately, in the end, Cable won the fight. Even though there is some cool sequence, so I guess like really just, oh my god, it really hurts to watch, because like Deadpool uses his broken hand to basically choke Cable, and I was like, damn, that was so hard to watch. Like it make me cringe sometimes. But yeah, like I said before, Cable wins the fight. And then they both got thrown out of the prison. And this is where Wade basically nearly died again, because his head hit a rock, and then this is where he saw Vanessa again, and this is where Wade realized that, oh, I need to protect this kid, I need to protect Russell, because Russell never had anybody, so I had to protect him, and then he's again teaming up with Weasel, once again played by T.J. Miller, and Dopinder this time around is actually a cleaner, or I guess a janitor at the bar for assassins, because Dopinder wanted to be an assassin himself, so who knows, maybe in Deadpool and Wolverine he's actually an assassin, who knows. That would be kind of funny, but yeah, the point is they have to build a team, and then they decide to build this team called X-Force, and then we get to see several of the X-Force members. I think one of the most important ones is obviously played by Zaziebeetz. She plays Domino, right? Which I think is a really cool character in this movie. But yeah, I only mentioned her because you know what's gonna happen, right? When I first saw the trailer about this movie, I thought that, oh, we're gonna see Deadpool teaming up with X-Force, or like building his own team, which he does in the movie. But what I did not expect is that the whole team is fucking dead, immediately, except for Domino. I was like, oh damn, because like on the trailer we see Terry Crews character punching a guy, and it seems like all the X-Force members gonna be the crucial part about the movie, because it was promoted in the trailer. And then when I see the final movie, they all just die one by one. It is funny, don't get me wrong, but I was like super surprised by it, because I was like, damn, they just kill everybody except Deadpool and Domino. Okay, that took me by surprise, like, which is fine. I don't really complain about that, So we get to see another big action sequence, with a truck chase sequence this time around. Now we get to see Cable again, and Deadpool and Cable fight once again in the truck, which I think is just really, really cool to watch. But during the fighting, Russell managed to free himself and then managed to free this one big guy, and then the big guy slammed the truck down and slamming the road at the same time, and then everything goes to slow motion, which I think is quite funny, and then the truck crashed, obviously, and then we found out that the big guy on the prison was actually Juggernaut. And Deadpool was like, the reaction from Deadpool is also really funny. Was like, "Oh my God, Juggernaut!" It's like, "Oh, I thought it was you." Like it's just so funny to me because like we've seen Juggernaut before on X-Men the last time, was played by Vinnie Jones, but now we get to see an accurate Juggernaut essentially. I don't exactly know who plays Juggernaut. Some people said Davidleitch played Juggernaut. Some people said Ryan Reynolds voices Juggernaut, but I'm not exactly sure about that. But yeah, the point is Juggernaut is in the movie, so I think that's really cool. And then he rips Deadpool in half, which is like, oh my God, that's so painful to watch. So after that, Russell and Juggernaut decide to team up together to go to the principal school, and then to burn down the orphanage essentially, for mutants, right? And this is where Cable and Deadpool decide to team up, but before that we get to see a lot of funny scenes, which I think is also really uncomfortable to watch, because we get to see Deadpool's baby leg, and TJ Miller's acting in this scene is just super, super funny, where Deadpool are just like trying to walk to Cable, because they make a deal that because Russell are going to become a murderer in the future, and then Russell was able to kill Cable's family, and that's why Cable decided to time travel back through time, into this era right here. And then that's why he decided to kill Russell on when he was a kid, so to prevent the future from happening, to save his own family, which I think is just a really cool reveal in my opinion. But I think the scene after that is just really funny, because like Deadpool just like walking with this like baby leg, and then Weasel was like, "Oh, there you go, there you go, little guys, come on, you're doing it, you got it." And the Pinder reaction is also really funny, where it's like almost crying, in a way. I was like, okay, this is really funny, man. And then Domino was like, "Christ, this is disturbing," like, oh my God, this is super fun to watch, man. But after that, Deadpool tried to convince Colossus and Negatonic Teenage Warhead to teaming up together with him again, but obviously they both are disappointed with what Deadpool does in the previous scenes, with the principal, right, where he kills like one of the staff member, But Deadpool was like, well, sometimes you have to fight dirty, and eventually he leaves to confront Russell and Juggernaut, and then we get to see them fight, but obviously they are, not matched for they're not a match for Juggernaut, because he's so strong. And the song they play in that scene was also super funny, like, he's the Juggernaut, holy, holy, holy shit balls. It's just so funny to me. I think when I first watched the movie, I didn't really realize the background music, but the second time I watched it, I was like, oh, I noticed the background music, and it was like really, really funny for me, But after that, Colossus arrive, and then eventually we get to see a big CGI fight scenes, between Colossus and Juggernaut, which is really, really fun to watch, Juggernaut kind of like winning the fight for the most part until Negasonic Teenage Warhead and Yukio came in to intervene, with the fight scenes, and Colossus managed to push Juggernaut to a pole, because like he previously stuck like a electricity cable into his butt, and eventually electrocuting Juggernaut, and then he passed out in that pole. So after this, Deadpool and Cable are obviously trying to stop Russell, and Deadpool tried to convince Russell by putting the collar again this time around, and this has become the heart of the movie, where Deadpool are like trying to become a bigger man than himself and try to save this one kid, and eventually Cable loses his patience, because like Russell is just a kid, didn't really want to listen to Deadpool's word. So Cable goes for the gun, and then we get to see Deadpool sacrifice himself, for Russell. And this is where the sacrifice actually worked, because the teddy bear that Cable has brought from the future as he go back to his original form, because at first it was burned, it was actually filled with his daughter's blood, but now it's actually a pure form teddy bear. So it means that the future has changed, like it works, But sadly, Deadpool dies, which is like the longest death scene ever, and it's also really, really funny in my opinion, But yeah, this is where Deadpool dies. He reunites with Vanessa, but eventually, before Cable has like two devices, like one to travel here and one to travel to the future again. But Cable decided to use this one device to stop Deadpool's death, which he puts like a coin in his chest, and then that saves Deadpool's life, But Russell's mind is still changing. Obviously, he's still touched by Deadpool's act, so it still work regardless, and the movie kind of ends kind of like a happy ending in a way. We get to see the principal get run down by Dopinder, which is like really funny for me, and then we get to see, I think we get to see Juggernaut walking out of the pool for like the last second, before the movie ends, with like an amazing post-credit scene, because we get to see Negasonic Teenage Warhead and Yukio teaming up to fix Cable's device. And Deadpool decided to use that device to save Vanessa. He decided to use it to save Peter. And then I think one of the most funny scenes, is that he goes back to X-Men in the Origin Wolverine timeline. We get to see Hugh Jackman again on archive footage this time around, where he kills like the previous Deadpool, which is like a shitty Deadpool, and he keeps shooting him in the dick a couple of times, at least on the theatrical release, like the post-credit scene was a bit different, but on the extended scenes, it was actually way poetic in my opinion, because he actually has a dialogue with Wolverine, because like eventually you're gonna die and that's gonna make a lot of people very sad, and Wolverine was like, huh, and then Deadpool says, but one day your pal Wade is gonna ask you one more time to get back into the saddle again, and when he does, say yes. And then Wolverine was like, oh, all right, and then, well, we all know that Hugh Jackman does say yes. He's coming back for Deadpool and Wolverine. So I think that scene right here is just really poetic, Like even Ryan Reynolds even mentioned that. I was like, oh, this is just like a fun teasing that doesn't really necessarily lead to anywhere. But it's like, damn, it's actually coming to full circle now. This is so amazing, to watch, and the final scene is actually where Deadpool killed Ryan Reynolds, before he reached the Green Lantern script before starring in that movie. Where I'm just like, damn, like Ryan Reynolds really did not like Green Lanterns, man. Like, holy hell, I mean, yeah, that movie is not that good, to be honest, So okay, fair. But on this extended scenes, there is like this one scene where Deadpool tried to kill baby Hitler, which is like, it was mentioned before where he mentioned to Cable that why don't you just travel back in time again, kill baby Hitler, So this is what he does in the extended cutscenes, So yeah, that was Deadpool 2, guys. Again, really, really fun, I think the action is way better than the first one, but I do think that the story and the pacing for the first movie is a bit better in my opinion, but I do think Deadpool 2 is still a great movie, it's a great addition to the Deadpool franchise, so I really cannot wait for Deadpool and Wolverine, so I'm really hoping that it's actually as good as the first two movie, if not better, because I know there's gonna be a multiverse of madness movie, that we never actually got, so hopefully Deadpool and Wolverine really delivers in that multiverse idea, because they bring back a lot of the X-Men characters, we get to see Deadpool and Wolverine finally teaming up, the true version of themselves, which I think that's really, really cool. And yeah, I cannot wait for next Wednesday, man, so obviously look up for that for my non-spoiler review for Deadpool and Wolverine on Wednesday, guys. So yeah, the time zone might be different, maybe it's Tuesday to you guys, who knows, but either way, that's my review for Deadpool and Deadpool 2, so let me know in the comment section below, guys, which one is your favorite movie, Deadpool 1 or Deadpool 2, and do you guys have any favorite moments from the first two movie? You can share them in the comment section below, what is your favorite jokes even, you can also share them in the comment section below, and yeah, if you guys enjoyed this review, then make sure guys, slash that subscribe and like button, guys, share the videos to show stuff, stay tuned for more reviews in the future, particularly Deadpool and Wolverine reviews on Wednesday, hopefully on Wednesday, we'll see what happens, but yeah, I did already bought my ticket for Wednesday, so I hope there is no scheduling conflict, on Wednesday, so we'll see about that, but yeah, really hyped to see Deadpool and Wolverine, guys, so yeah, stay tuned for more videos in the future, guys, and again, I hope you guys enjoyed this review, and I will see you guys in the next one then. Bye!